I want to welcome you all on behalf of University of Florida IFAS Extension Polk County to our webinar series on saving water in the landscape in 15 minutes. Today we will be discussing smart irrigation technologies. Our webinar team consists of Ann Yazalanis, the Residential Horticulture Agent and Master Gardener Coordinator for Polk County, and I'm Julie Shelb, the Florida Friendly Landscaping Coordinator. Today's topics, we'll look at what is a smart irrigation controller. We'll look at ET versus soil moisture-based controllers. We'll also look at water savings with these smart technologies and even some smart irrigation apps. So, what is a smart irrigation controller? Well, as defined by the Irrigation Association, smart irrigation controllers reduce outdoor water use by monitoring and using information about site conditions like rain, soil type, soil moisture, plant type, wind, slope, and other factors, to then apply the right amount of water based on those factors. So basically, smart irrigation controllers use this data and feedback to adjust the irrigation frequency or length of time for watering events. In general, there are two types of smart controllers. There's climatologically based or soil moisture based. So first, we'll discuss the climatologically based controllers. These are also known as ET, which is short for evapotranspiration. Evapotranspiration is a combination of evaporation from soil and plant surfaces along with the transpiration by plants. In general, there are three types of ET controllers. There's signal-based, historical ET, and on-site weather measurement. First, with signal-based controllers, these use weather forecasting data from either weather station networks or from publicly available sources. The ET value is calculated for a hypothetical site, and the controller adjusts the watering days or run times accordingly. Next, with the historical ET type controller, they use a pre-programmed water use curve for different regions, and that can be modified by an on-site temperature sensor. And then third, with the on-site weather measurement controllers, they use weather data collected at the controller. The ET is constantly calculated and irrigation is adjusted based on weather conditions. The other type of smart irrigation controllers are soil moisture-based controllers, also known as SMS. And these use a sensor buried in the soil and measure moisture in the root zone. There are two types, bypass and on-demand. Bypass style SMS controllers are most common for smaller sites like residential. This controller will bypass scheduled watering times if the soil moisture exceeds the threshold. It operates similarly to a rain sensor if you're familiar with that with your irrigation system. Often these only include one sensor, which should be placed in the driest irrigation zone. Runtimes for other zones should be adjusted to prevent overwatering. The other type of SMS controller is on demand. And this is often used at commercial sites or sites with numerous irrigation zones. This type of controller both starts and stops watering, whereas the bypass style only allows watering. And you can see here in this picture, we have the timer that's connected to the valve. It's also connected to the soil moisture controller. And then that is connected to an actual soil moisture sensor that's buried in the soil. And so when sufficient soil moisture is reached through either rainfall or irrigation, previous irrigation, there's no need to water. However, if it is dry and below the threshold, then it will allow watering at the next scheduled event for the bypass style. So, what are the water savings potential of smart irrigation technologies? Well, it can vary, and it depends on weather conditions and site conditions like soil and microclimates. In general, irrigation savings can range from 30 to 40% during dry conditions and up to 70 to 90% during normal Florida rainy situations with a properly installed and programmed smart controller. So you can see there is a lot of potential for savings, especially during the rainy season of Florida. We'll look at a few more water savings potentials with Florida-friendly landscaping practices. In particular, as it relates to the smart irrigation controllers, if you look at the highlighted section, if you adjust your sprinkler to replace 60% of the ET or evapotranspiration versus 100%, there's water savings to be had there. Now, there is a cost associated with that potentially. Now, if you can do it yourself, there's no cost, but if you do need to hire a professional to help you with that adjustment, there may be a cost associated with that. Additionally, just by installing a soil moisture sensor or an ET controller, you can save lots of water as well. Now, of course, there could be a cost associated with the actual controller and the installation by a professional. Additionally, either on your own or through the use of one of these smart technologies, you can reduce your irrigation. In the wintertime, you could skip a week or reduce that frequency, and that doesn't necessarily cost you anything. You just have to adjust the timer, or through the use of one of these smart technologies, either soil moisture based or ET based, they will allow for less watering. And additionally, in the summertime, reducing the frequency, even though we have higher temperatures, often we receive lots of rainfall. And so irrigation can be reduced as well. Either manually, you can reduce the irrigation or turn the system off, or through the use of these technologies and the weather input or the moisture data, the irrigation frequency will also be reduced. Now, in addition to smart technology irrigation controllers that are based on soil moisture or ET, there are also these same technologies that incorporate an app or Wi-Fi control. And so in particular, there's the Smart Irrigation Turf app, and that was developed as a tool to improve irrigation scheduling for lawns. This helps homeowners water based on local needs and can help modify your current irrigation schedule to reduce irrigation costs, disease incidence, wasted water, and even nutrient leaching. Using the app-suggested schedule can reduce irrigation annually by 25 to 30%. So just a reminder, if you utilize this Smart Irrigation Turf app, it doesn't actually adjust your timer. It's not connected, but this is an app that you can input local data and has other data input. You would input site conditions, and it incorporates other data, and then sets a suggested schedule to allow for the most efficient irrigation. So if you're not ready to install a new controller, but you'd like to try out or use something that will help you be more efficient in your irrigation, this is an app that will allow you to input some local data and kind of trial a smart irrigation controller. But it certainly will help you reduce water. And we'll send the link for this information along with the survey at the end. So in addition to other weather inputs, many of these apps and controllers offer convenience. You can see in the calendar, in the picture in the middle, for this is a different irrigation app, but there's many out there. This is associated with a particular controller. You have access to see the upcoming schedule. You can also see the watering history to see if watering actually occurred or if it was prevented due to local conditions where it wasn't necessary. You can also check the timer status, weather, and start or stop a timer from the convenience of anywhere on your phone, tablet, or computer. So lots of these smart controllers now often come with apps or online Wi-Fi based systems, and so you have the convenience to check on your timer without actually having to walk out to the hard timer. Now there is still an actual physical timer located on site, but through the use of apps and other technology, you have access to that information. And so from the convenience of anywhere, whether you're at home or traveling, you have access to stop or start or check on the timer, the irrigation timer, to see what's happening. Here's a list of references and resources related to smart irrigation controllers. You can see there's more information on smart irrigation, how they work, estimated water savings potential, and even the smart irrigation app for turf. So today we briefly discussed what makes an irrigation controller smart, in that it takes data and inputs that and adjusts how the system actually irrigates. We looked at the two basic types, the ET or evapotranspiration versus the soil moisture-based controllers. We looked at water savings potential with these smart technologies, and we looked at the Smart Irrigation Turf app and some other irrigation apps associated with different controllers that can help you save water. I would like to mention, if you are a resident of Polk County, Florida, we have the Polk Regional Water Cooperative. Within that, we have a conservation team made up of our local water utilities. And through our local water utilities, we have various water conservation rebates and incentives available. There's both outdoor irrigation incentives and indoor incentives. I particularly wanted to mention this because we were talking about smart irrigation controllers, and there is a rebate available for smart irrigation controllers. You will need to check with your local utility to see if they're offering that particular rebate, and you can go to savepolkwater.org for more information on how to contact your local water utility to find out what rebates are available to help you save water. I want to thank you all so much for joining us today. For more information, please contact us at the UF IFAS Extension Polk County. We're available by phone or email. You can visit our website or even follow us on social media at Polk Gardening.